From the Newstalk ZB newsroom, this is Newsfix.
In this update, there's been tense scenes at the White House in Washington, D.C. as Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky's meetings ended with a shouting match between the two leaders. Trump and Zelensky met to discuss giving the US access to Ukrainian minerals in exchange for rebuilding Ukraine. The meeting ended with a press conference where they engaged in a tense back and forth about the nature of US support and whether Zelensky had shown enough gratitude.
If you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days. This is something
maybe
new.
Less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this.
Phone and video service Skype is shutting down in May. Skype was founded more than 20 years ago and for a long time had no real competition until the likes of FaceTime and Zoom took over. Microsoft had purchased Skype in 2011 for $15 billion. More than half of Takapuna Golf Club will be turned into a flood storage area if a new Auckland Council proposal goes ahead. The proposal will see A.F. Thomas Park turned into a wetland to help reduce future flooding in the area. Jordan Dunn has more.
An 18-hole public golf course sits on A.F. Thomas Park, welcoming about 200,000 visitors each year. Takapuna Golf Club spokesperson Stephen Dowd says it's international best practice for courses to incorporate flood mitigation, but he says the current proposal doesn't address alternative design options which can be integrated into the existing layout.
Pope Francis has suffered a breathing crisis while in hospital with pneumonia. The Vatican says the 88-year-old had a bronchospasm which led to an episode of vomiting and a sudden worsening of his breathing. They say he remains in hospital under observation using an oxygen mask. The episode came just hours after the Pope's condition was no longer considered critical, following a series of incremental improvements from his 2 weeks in hospital. That's news. In sport, returning Matatu lock Chelsea Bremner believes they're primed to compete for a second Super Rugby All-Piki title. She's come home to rejoin younger sister Alana after a seasons with Chiefs Manawa in 2024. Matatu dropped their first 4 games last year. Bremner says they've been conditioned to hit the ground running.
We've been, getting thrashed pretty much in pre-season physically, but also challenged mentally. I think our game knowledge has taken a real step up this year, and we're all ready to come into this weekend's game hissing.
Matatu opened their campaign on the road this afternoon against Chiefs Manawa. We'll have live commentary from 2:05 on Gold Sport and iHeartRadio. And Aston Villa have booked their place in the quarterfinals of football's FA Cup after a 2-0 win over Cardiff City. That's sport. I'm Sandy Hodge.
For more news, listen to Newstalk ZB live on iHeartRadio.